Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today you join me for a little bit of a blast in the Focus RS, kind of a fuel for thought FFT, because today I want to talk a little bit about the movers and shakers in my garage. The cars that are coming, the cars that are going, the cars you know about like the AMG GT R and the Porsche 911 GT3 that are inbound before the end of the year, and let you know a little bit in response to all of the questions that I received from you. And I think this was particularly kind of kicked off by my recent drive in the Ford GT, when I took this car up there as well and basically started talking about the spec. And I'm pretty excited about that car, even though it's a long way off, but it's, I think, prompted all of these questions where you'd like to know about what's going on. So let's run through it, talk about the cars I have at the moment, all of the cars that are here. I've even seen people saying, but you don't drive this anymore. I drive them all an awful lot, apart from one. We'll get to that in a moment. Then the cars that we know are coming, and then sort of a wish list for the future, I suppose. The cars that I'm excited about, even just to drive. So let's get started and think first about the cars in my garage. So currently 6 cars in the garage. And actually, before I get any further, I love this kind of thing about Scotland. Just a random single lane bridge in the middle of nowhere to squeeze through here. And yeah, if somebody comes the other way, you have to just kind of wait. Let's go this way. Anyway, yeah, so the car's in the garage. The McLaren 675 LT Spider. Had it for over a year now, just had the first service. Obviously the custom paint job, the Orion purple with the silver wheels. And even now, people still ask me if I'm going to change the wheels to stealth. No, they're staying silver. That's why I went to Dub Customs and put the silver pinstripes on it. And like I say, I've had the car for over a year now. It's done about 8,000 miles. And for me, the McLaren, that kind of, well, that P11 chassis, which was the 12C, my 650S Spider, 675 LT Coupe, now the 675 LT Spider, is such, I guess, a supercar ownership experience and story for me that car has a really, really kind of deep-rooted place almost in my heart, if you could say that. So I have no sort of desire to get rid of it at any point soon. I want to use it and enjoy it for many more miles, and I think you probably already know right now it's over in Germany. I took it to Spa, and I'm going to go and do a few more things with it over there before it comes back home again. Then the next car we can talk about, the Vanquish GT8. GT8, same sort of story. It's another limited edition, special, collectible car with the most phenomenal of stories. I mean, you guys saw it, didn't you? The build, the whole sort of experience of that, and getting that car ready and prepared and out onto the road. And it's just something that is so very special, I couldn't ever see it going anywhere. So those two in custom paint jobs have a sort of, I guess, permanent place in the garage as long as possible. If obviously I ever need to sell them, can't afford to keep them, then so be it. But ideally, they stay around. Then let's go down, I suppose, through the cars. We've got the FF. The FF is the oldest car in my garage, both in terms of actual age of car, other than the Mini. Oldest new car, I guess, let's say that. But it's also the one I've had the longest. It's nearly 2 years now in my possession, which I never would have thought when I bought it, but I've basically kind of just fallen for that thing as a car to use for all these trips, just not worry about, take out. Well, I say not worry about, it's had a few things, hasn't it, with batteries and that kind of stuff, but just to use for everything, for driving on mountain roads, but also for carrying luggage, for carrying people, and just using and living with. So the FF, 2 years old, and I can only really ever seeing it being replaced by a GTC Fortless So, and that's not going to happen anytime soon because they're new pricing and it's a significant upgrade to go from FF to Lusso. So I don't know if I'll keep the FF, or if at some point I might let it go just because I've had it for a while and it's fun to sort of refresh and try new things. Maybe try a Panamera or something in the meantime, that kind of thing. So that's, I guess, loosely where I'm thinking on that front. The Vanquish has done some very good miles in its ownership, but like I've said a few times, that is heading out very soon. The Vanquish Volante Carbon Edition will be on the way to a new home very soon, I hope. I'm gonna get it unwrapped and ready and prepared to be sold. This car, the Focus RS. Now, I've also had this for over a year. It's about, well, 13 months. It was recently serviced up in Edinburgh, actually. Obviously, I'm in Scotland, so up near here. And it's done the job brilliantly for me. It's on 9,500 miles. Again, I never thought I would drive this car quite so much, but I have done. I clearly enjoy driving it. And I would keep a hold of it, if not for two things. Firstly, there is talk of a Focus RS edition, limited edition. They confirmed for the US market, 1,000 cars, 500 cars for the Canadian market, and we know about that, I've talked about that before. But there is currently sort of rumour that we're going to have an edition version in the UK as well. So maybe 500 cars. Rumours perhaps even that we'll get some of the red ones. And if we get some of the red ones, that will be awesome because I will jump at a red one. But at the moment, obviously nitrous blue sounds like what it might be, and I've really enjoyed driving this car, so I'd like to swap it out into a newer one. It has a new LSD, some new sort of carbon trim panels and parts, and if I'm going to be keeping it for a while, I'd like to get the new one, naturally. So depending what happens in that space, let's wait and see what announcements come along, and then, like I say, maybe I'll jump at it, maybe have a new Focus RS, and if I do, should I put the same number plate on it or put a new number plate on it? That will get really confusing for everyone, won't it? So we'll see what happens on that front. Then the Mini. The Mini hasn't really had the best time recently because I've not driven it anywhere nearly enough, and it's a 20-year-old car nearly, and basically it needs some loving. It needs to be driven every week, it needs to be kept on the road, and it needs to be run. And the problem I have is that because I'm always away, it sits around without getting driven, the battery goes flat, I put a new battery in it, but then I have to let it go, it goes flat again, and then I have to jump it to make sure I can move it just around in the garage to sort out, get the fluids going through and that kind of thing. So basically, it's been really, really fun. I've done about 3,000 miles in my Mini, but I think it's time. I think the Mini is gonna be heading out at some point shortly. So the Vanquish is heading off, the Mini is heading off, the FF might head off depending what happens, and the Focus RS might head off if a new car comes. So the LT and GT8 will stick around, but they're obviously not all going to go like overnight. That's just what I'm thinking at the moment. Then beyond that, what's coming in? So a few cars inbound before the end of this year. Just to head through the traffic here. Thank you very much. A few cars inbound before the year is out, and you know about them. So firstly, the AMG GT R. UK car in the UK, deliveries were delayed a little bit, I think you probably already know that. Originally I hoped I'd have it earlier in the year, to be honest, but it's just recently been pushed back slightly more, so I'm expecting it October, November, that kind of time. And lots of questions about my spec, and I did a full video not that long ago, like 2.5 months ago, about, or kind of reminding what my spec was while I was driving a GTR in Germany. But the car I have ordered has kind of base black, so it's black paint, with yellow stitching, yellow seat belts, yellow calipers, yellow kind of accents wherever possible around the car, just because I think it looks really cool. Now I'm going to wrap the car, and I think I'm going to wrap it yellow. I think it's going to be yellow. We'll see. It might be green, might be blue, might be something else, but I might change it because I want to drive that car a lot, and I want to drive it a lot. It's going to depreciate. I'm going to take a massive, massive chunk off the price if I actually take it out and use it as I want to. So that's kind of my theory behind ordering it. You know, I could order the really expensive yellow or green paint job, but if I'm going to sell the car after a year or two, what's the point in taking a massive depreciation hit on it? So I might as well just sort of get the car, play around with it, probably do some modifications to it, some fun stuff. So that's coming before the end of the year. The next car is the Porsche GT3. Now all I'm going to tell you right now is that it is ordered in paint to sample, PTS. It is a historical Porsche colour, but it's something you're probably not expecting from me. It's pretty bold and out there and crazy. So that's coming. I've ordered it with buckets, harnesses, the full sort of track setup, full hog, and I'm actually getting it outside the UK. So it's going to live on the continent in Europe. I'm going to use it a lot, hopefully at the Nürburgring, Spa, track days. That's kind of the way I want to have it. So it's left-hand drive, and that's actually going to bring me on to another topic later on about cars in the UK versus internationally. So those two you know about. The GT3, similar kind of ETA. I would go with November. Let's wait and see when it's going to come. Originally I was expecting it next year, next like February or March. So full props to Porsche on that one, because they managed to pull it through a little bit quicker. That was a cool email to receive, so big thanks to them. I'll show you more about that, obviously, in due course. Maybe run over the full spec at some point. Obviously, a Focus RS edition, if it comes out, that would presumably be later this year. And that pretty much, I guess, ties me through. So let's say the FF sticks around, the Vanquish goes, the Mini goes, this would go if there's a new one, the AMG GT R comes in, the GT3 comes in, and a new Focus RS edition comes in if there is one. So in addition to that, what is further afield? Well, you know about the 4GT that is on order. Obviously that's the sort of pinnacle and future flagship, I suppose, of my car collection. That is basically it, I think, that's further afield, that's actually already out. I have things I'm interested in, letters of intent I've put in for cars that may or may not come out, and obviously I'll let you know about them in due course as and when sort of things become relevant and start sort of hitting the market and I can actually talk about them. We have, oh gosh, let me think. Cars, I guess I'm interested in. First, the Ferrari 812 Superfast. I loved the 812 Superfast. If you watch my video at the press launch, that thing was just epic. 800 horsepower of V12 GT Grand Tourer, Super Grand Tourer glory. It is kind of a wonderful thing, and I would love one, but the wait list for a new car in the UK is about 2.5 years, unless you put your name down ages ago. And that would mean waiting for a used car, so maybe I'll look around at used cars, or alternatively I could order one in Europe and get a left-hand drive car, register it in Germany or Italy or whatever, and use it for my trips, as I currently do anyway. So that might turn out to be a sensible idea, but we will see. The wait time in Europe is, I think, I can get one probably inside a year, so that could be a more logical move. Now that's actually one of the interesting topics to move on to, because as well as the 812, I'm also quite interested to have a 720S at some point, a McLaren 720S. Now I wouldn't sell my 675 LT Spider for it. I don't fancy getting rid of the LT, I want to keep that car, and that's a lot of money to tie into two very, very, very similar cars, the 675 LT and the 720S, obviously both mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, McLaren twin-turbo V8 supercars. So they're not different enough, I think, to run both at the moment. Maybe in the future, we'll see. I'm gonna head this way, tight turn, but let's go up this road. Put my foot down for a moment. Yes, you've got to love the mountain exhaust cracks. So yes, 812, 720S. That's going to move me on, I think, a little bit to the international elements of this. So you guys probably realise by now that I do most of my miles outside of the UK. I may be British and I may technically live in London, but I spend my life on an aeroplane or in a hotel, and I do all of my mileage driving around left-hand drive countries. So owning right-hand drive cars does not really make the world's biggest sense. So this is why I've gone left-hand drive for the GT3, and it's why I'm considering going left-hand drive in future for cars. Obviously the Ford GT comes left-hand drive by default. They're all left-hand drive. That's a question I've seen a lot. But it's don't be surprised if the steering wheel starts moving around and the plates on my car start moving to different countries. I'll try and always have them Shmee related if the country allows, but it doesn't necessarily make the most sense to always have right-hand drive cars. I'm going to try and spend more time in Germany as well. I just think it's sort of the epicenter of automotive goodness in Europe and just easy to get everywhere. Thinking about plates also, so incoming cars. The AMG GT R is going to have obviously an SH number MEE plate, and it's going to have SH 67 MEE, and the reason for 67 is firstly 67 is the sort of time specific plate from the 1st of September in the UK, so that's relevant, but also 1967 is the year that AMG was founded, and it is obviously the pinnacle of AMG, so it seemed to just tie in perfectly. So SH 67 MEE. The GT3 I don't really know yet. I'm still working on how all that's going to work and where I'm going to register it and what exactly I'm going to do on that front. The time will tell, and I'll obviously let you know, and you'll see it when it's set up. If I got another one of these, I can't decide if I'd put the SH13 that's on this on it, or if I would change it just to be different and put the SH14 MEE on it that was on my Cayman GT4, which clears up the 13. I've got a few plates that aren't going to be on cars, especially as cars start getting European numbers. So options on that front. I think that's pretty much it to let you know about for now. Vanquish out, Mini out, Focus RS maybe out, AMG GT R in, GT3 in, new Focus RS maybe in, FF possibly out if things sort of make sense to do so. Ford GT years away. Let's not get too excited about that at the moment because it's literally still 2 years away before I have a Ford GT in my garage. It's definitely going to be very expensive, but I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think they're going to be super, super rare, especially over here. So seriously cool car for the long-term collection, and we'll talk more about the ordering process and ordering kit when that gets a little bit nearer. And yeah, there might be some spontaneous, I guess, second-hand kind of cars like the 720S and 812, or we'll see. And there are a couple of other things that I'm interested to see. New Aston Martin Vantage, that's one. Interested to see the new TVR, Brits, both of these British V8s. What else is on the cards? Obviously I'd love a GT2 RS if I could get a GT2 RS, but that's a no-go, so let's give up on that one now. GT3 will suffice. That naturally aspirated engine is more than enough for me. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. There's hopefully everything you wanted to know. Do let me know in the comments if I've missed any obvious questions or anything you'd like to know about the cars and the garage and what's happening. But basically, just be ready to see more cars on trucks with all transports around Europe being left in different places. Hopefully, if I can, always in things like the classic remise or in dealerships where you guys can come and look and see them if they're in your city or anywhere near where you are. But for now, this little adventure I've had in Scotland has been epic. I've still got a few more videos to post out. I mean, it's basically over for me now, and that means kind of time to head back down south, back to London, for the next little trip, wherever that will take me in due course. So let's just end with a little bit of gratuitous cracking. And you know what, actually, let's not end there. One more thing. There's a mysterious, like, extra driving mode. So the Focus RS has normal, sport, race, and drift. But if you put the car into racetrack mode, and then the suspension gets ridiculous, but then soften the suspension back again, and then put traction control back on, you have an even sportier extra driving mode that isn't sport. Random fun fact, if you're a Focus RS owner, you can try that. And I don't know if it's kind of placebo effect, but it feels pretty much a little bit more lively. The intake noise is just awesome in this thing. Basically, this car is awesome. That's why I'm very happy to have another one. Anywho, I was going to wrap it up. I shall wrap it up there. So thank you very much, as always, for watching, guys. Thank you for your support. Thanks for being subscribed. I'm going to try and not make the channel too much about my cars and fleet movements and that kind of stuff. It's about the love of cars in general, trying out different things, trying different cars, and even going forward, having some other guys join me to help make some awesome videos for you guys to enjoy. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.